Hi everybody, it's Miss Craig. I hope you are all doing well. We are going to start lesson 1 for the week of April 20th to 24th, circles in the coordinate plane, or learn about it section. So our focus for this lesson is going to be on the equation of a circle. So the way we derive the equation of a circle is we use our distance formula, which we did at the beginning of the year. We substitute in our values. So if we use HK as our center and we want to know what is that distance between the center and a point on the circle, we fill in those values and then we square both sides. So that's how we get the formula for the equation for a circle. So a couple of things when we are trying to write the equation. We want to find the values of r, h, and k. R is our radius. And h and k is our center. And then we write down our equation. So the equation is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So the big thing to remember is that you're working with minus h and minus k, so we kind of think of that as opposite. Substitute in our values and then we simplify. So for example, if we have a center of 2, -3 and a radius of 4, we write that as x minus 2 quantity squared plus y minus a -3 quantity squared equals 3. This is 4 squared. So we think of that as x minus 2 plus x plus 3 squared equals 16. When we go to graph it, we put our center at our 2, -3. Our radius is 4, so as we go out 4 in every direction. And then we have our circle. So again, we are going to find our values of r, h, and k, substitute them into our equation, and then simplify. So we know that my r is 4, and then I have my h and k value. We're going to start with our formula, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So we're going to have x minus 2 squared plus the quantity y minus 2 squared equals 4 squared. Then we simplify, so we have x minus 2 quantity squared plus the quantity of y minus 2 quantity squared equals 16 to get our equation of the circle. Next one, same thing. We have our r, our h, and our k. So again, we write down our formula, substitute in our values. We're going to have x minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus -3 quantity squared equals 8 squared, and then simplify. So x minus 0 is x, we'd have x squared, plus y minus -3 turns into y plus 3 squared equals 64. When you subtract a negative, it turns into a positive. So on this one, we know my center is k, so that is h and k, but we don't know our radius. So to get our radius, first we have to use our distance formula. So first we have to do the square root of 6 minus 1 quantity squared plus 4 minus negative 8 quantity squared. So when we type all of that into the calculator, we end up with the square root of 169, which is 13. So again, you want to make sure that you can just type that distance formula in. Now we can find the area or the equation for our circle. We have x minus h quantity squared plus the quantity of y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. X minus 1 quantity squared plus y minus negative 8 quantity squared equals 13 squared. And then we can simplify. So y minus negative 8 turns into y plus 8 quantity squared equals 169. Next one, again, we have our center. So we know that is our h and our k. But again, we don't have radius. So we have to go ahead and use our distance formula. Square root of 2 minus 2 quantity squared plus 3 minus negative 1 quantity squared. So if we substitute those values into the calculator, we get the square root of 16, which is equal to 4. Now we can use our equation of the circle, x minus h. Quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. We would have x minus 2 quantity squared plus y minus negative 1 quantity squared equals 4 squared. So now to simplify that, quantity of x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16. So now when we go to graph in our circle, again, we're going to use our formula. We're going to find our center and our radius. So remember, our center is, our radius is r, our center is h, comma k. So it's kind of that whole idea of opposite. We're going to plot our center, and then we're going to use our radius to go out our spaces in every direction. So here's our first one. So first we need to identify, here is our h, and here is our k. So our center is 3, 1. R squared is equal to 9. Therefore, to find r, we have to take the square root of both sides, and we're just going to do the principal square root, so r is equal to 3. So we can go ahead and plot the center on our coordinate grid. So we're going to plot 3, 1, so over 3, up 1. And then we're going to count out our spaces. So r is 3. So now we're going to count 3 in every direction. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we can connect those points to make our circle. So another one on graphing. So first we have to get our center. So to get our h and our k, here's our k, but remember we want to think of that as negative 5. Since it's just x squared, technically that's x plus 0 squared, so therefore our h would be equal to 0. R squared is equal to 4. Take our square root of both sides, so r is equal to 2. So therefore my center is at 0, negative 5. we are going to plot 0, -5, and then we're going to count out 2 spaces in every direction. So 2 up, 2 to the right, 2 down, 2 to the left, and then we can connect our circle. So now you're going to go on and do the try it. After you're done on the try it and you've done the practice, then you can go on to the show what you know assessment. I hope you are all doing well. Take care of yourself and talk soon.